Hey folks, before we get started with this video, guess who finally joined the I Just Got Blocked Club? Yeah, we all know what that club is and who is running that club. And all I did was just unfollow this person for comments that they made towards the LGBTQ community. Now, I will admit this person did not go as far as to say everybody who is a part of that community should basically stop breathing like Quantum TV did. Oh, you know what? That's another completely topic for another video for another channel. But yeah, back on this topic, the owner of that Block Everybody Club or whatever, yeah, you can go f yourself. Let's get on with this video. Alright, ladies and gentlemen of the YouTube citizens, y'all know who this is. It's your boy True Inferno. Today's date is Tuesday, March the 22nd. So yeah, I'm doing this because it's fun. Second, but anywho, now we got a new event going on right now, the Lust Jungle event or the Jungle Lust event, whichever one you want to call it, where you don't really have to spend any money on the game, which is actually good. It's optional if you want to go for the Shiny Continent and Tier 1 raid, but you can just find them in a route, wait for this weekend's event, the whole Spotlight Park event to pop up, whereas Continent would be spawning all over the place. Or just walk around daily, play the game and hope that you get it. By the way, not a lot of money spent in the game. Good job, Niantic or Pokémon Company or Nintendo. We ain't gonna do that again. Now, today, as I said, is Tuesday, which means today is Spotlight Hour. So, even though today's Spotlight Hour featured Pokemon was Sudowoodo, I didn't take part in that because I was live streaming today. And while I was live streaming today, not playing Pokemon Go, actually, well, on stream that is, I kind of end up with that right there, the Shiny Shadow Bagon. That actually came up today. So as you can see, there it is right there. IVs are terrible. I'm going to evolve that, not purify it, and move on from there, because that is the shiny that I want, the shiny shadow Pokemon that I want. Hopefully I get another one to have better IVs in the future, maybe, possibly, who knows, I don't know, I doubt it. But which leads me to what this video is about. So what this video is about, as I'm now about to stop the recording on the screen, is what I consider to be the 10 most difficult shinies to find in Pokemon Go. So let me give you guys some disclaimers before I go on with this list. So the first disclaimer is this: all these shinies has to be obtained or is able to be obtained in a route. They cannot be regionals. They cannot be raid exclusives. They cannot be egg exclusives. And they cannot be on special occasions like unknowns or Smeargles, for example. So with that out the way, let's move on to number 10. Now, number 10, now in terms of the top 10, my top 10 most difficult shinies to get, obviously 10 being the easiest, number 1 being the hardest, obviously. And number 10 on the list is Remoraid. So, Remoraid, the reason why it's number 10 so low on the list is because of the fact that its shiny just made its debut in the game not that long ago. It was actually back at the Johto event, the Go Tour Johto event. So that's where the shinies made its debut. But ever since then, yes, I have been seeing Remoraids around here and there, but I still don't have the shiny, and I consider that to be difficult. Now, granted, I have not been specifically looking for this shiny, and some of the shinies on the list, you could say I kind of have more than others, but this ain't one of those shinies right here. But nevertheless, I do be seeing a good number of these things spawning around, but yet none of them are that purple shiny, unfortunately. But nevertheless, I am highly confident that at some point in time, I will get this shiny, more likely this year. Let's move on to number 9. Number 9 is another new shiny that made its debut in the game, and that one will be Hitmontop. Now, it's slightly higher on the list because I've seen a lot more Hitmontops but not by much. But I've seen more Hitmontops than I have with Remoraids. So that's why it's number 9 on the list. That's why it's higher on the list than Remoraid. But nevertheless, now originally, Hitmontop is weird. So originally, you have to get the pre-evolution form. I forgot what it's called this time. I can't think of what it is off the top of my head. You have to hatch it from an egg and then evolve it, assuming you have the correct stats to get a Hitmontop. Now, Hitmontops are spawning all over the place in a route ever since its shiny made its debut at the Go Tour Johto event. So that's a good thing that it's spawning in the round now, Hitmontop that is. But I still haven't gotten the shiny. Again, that's one of those shinies where I'm kind of confident that I will get that this year. So let's move on to number 8. Number 8 is another shiny that made its debut this year, and recently rather, but it's not at the Go Tour Johto event. Instead, it was sometime after that, I think, or before that. I don't remember when it made its debut, but it's recent. And I'm talking about Young Goose. So Young Goose made its debut in Pokemon Go this year, along with its shiny form. So it is very interesting, and I've seen a lot more of these than the previous 2 Pokemon that I mentioned on this list. And of course, the Pokemon that are in my honorable mentions already. Yes, I do have an honorable mention, so don't miss that as well. But Young Goose, they've been spawning all over the place. They've been spawning as a daily spawn a lot for me, but yet I have not gotten the shiny. And because of the fact that they are spawning all over the place for me, I am guaranteed to get a shiny. Like, it's going to happen this year. I don't know when, and actually, I'll probably go as far as say within the next 3 months. Hopefully, possibly, maybe. I'm gonna get that shiny. So I got Young Goose at number 8. Let's move on to number 7. Number 7 is very interesting actually, and number 7 would be Hoot Hoot. So here's the deal with Hoot Hoot. I've been trying to get this shiny for a long time, but yet I can never get the shiny. Now, I think it was last week, I actually got it. I got that shiny. So why is it on the list? Because it was still difficult. It was still difficult to get. You know, it just happened to pop up at my house last week, and I got the shiny. But prior to that, it was difficult. Even doing the Johto event, it was still difficult to get this shiny. I could not believe it. This thing was really, really tough to get that shiny. I could not find that thing for the longest of time. But the reason why it's low on the list is because eventually I got the shiny. Now, granted, I need another one for the family, but it's still difficult to find, in my opinion. So that's why it's number 7 on the list. Now let's move on to number 6. And this one is a little bit of a controversy, actually. Let's get on number 6. Number 6 is Litleo. Now, here's where the controversy comes to play. It's not just that number 6 is Litleo, because that's not accurate. That's not accurate at all. Number 6 is actually Litleo, the male version. Yes, the male Litleo, the shiny male Litleo is number 6 on the list. So, obviously, now here's the deal. There was I think it was an event or shiny Litleo made his debut, but a lot of people kept getting the female shiny. I got 2 of them. So, that's why it's not high on the list, because even though it's the male version that we're referring to here, it's still part of the Litleo Pokemon species, and I got 2 of those shiny. It just so happened they were both female. But the male version is hard to get. And it's not because, oh, the shiny rates are different for the male version than they are for the female. It's not like this or anything like that. It's because the male version, they're hard to find, period. Not just the shiny, but the male Litleo out in the route, they're hard to find for some odd reason. I do not understand why I am finding, and a lot of people actually, are finding a lot more female Litleos than there are the male version. There should be like an even amount, but it's like completely one-sided. And I don't know which one have the better looking shiny in terms of the evolved form, the male or the female. I don't know. They both look cool. So there you go with that. But it's very awkward that the male Litleo are extremely hard to find, which means its shiny form is hard to find. So that's why it's number 6 on the list. It's not higher because of the fact that the females are hard to find, and I got 2 of those shinies. But it is number 6 on the list, higher than the other 4 because they are extremely rare. So they kind of balance each other out towards putting that in the middle of the pack. Now let's move on to number 5. Number 5, I'm just gonna come out and say it. It's Spinarak. Number 5 is Spinarak. Just like Hoo Hoo, Spinarak, that was the one that I've really been looking for the longest, and I couldn't find it until the Johto event. Yes, I actually got a shiny Spinarak at the Johto event. Now I only got 1. I need 1 more to complete the family, and of course I evolved it, but I need 1 more to complete the family. But it was extremely hard to find. I think it's been in the game longer than Hoo Hoo. And yes, it was, because I think Shiny Hoo was introduced New Year's this year. Whereas Spinarak, Shiny Spinarak, that been in the game for a good minute. But it was hard to find. I needed an actual event just to get the Shiny. Without the event, I wouldn't have gotten the Shiny. Let's be real. Whereas with the Hoo, it was just out in the route last week at my house. No event necessary, anything like that. But with Spinarak, I needed an event to get that Shiny. If it wasn't for the event, I truly believe I would not have gotten that Shiny. I would still be Shiny Spinarak-less. So that's why it's higher than Hoo, and that's why it's higher than Litleo, because I've been looking for this thing for the longest, but it's not higher than number 5 because I still got one Shiny. So there's that. Now let's move on to number 4. Number 4 on the list is Staryu. Now, I will admit, this is a Shiny I completely forgot about. Remember, they did, obviously, the Gold Tour Kanto event happened last year. And I did not get the Shiny Staryu, and it's been out basically for a whole year. And I completely forgot about it. Now, granted, because of the whole seasons and things of that nature, it's kind of hard to find a Staryu unless you go somewhere where there's water nearby. But nevertheless, this is a difficult shiny rather to find because they're not spawning all over the place. You have to go to a certain area where they will spawn, and I'm assuming it cannot be during the winter season, I guess. I don't know, but nevertheless, this is a hard shiny to find, and it is actually, believe it or not, spoiler, the number 2 difficult shiny Kanto Pokemon for me personally. Now, it's above the others because, again, I don't have this. It's not something that's spawned all the time, unlike everything else that I mentioned prior to this. And it's been out for a year. The shiny version been out for at least a year, around a year, and I still don't have the shiny. So that's why I number 4 on the list. But it's not higher than that because there are other shinies that I don't have that are extremely difficult for me personally. Let's move on, and they've been out longer. Let's move on to number 3. Number 3 on the list is Dunsparce. Now, I do not have a single shiny Dunsparce, unlike Lander Alpha, who have like 3 of them. I don't know how that happened, but whatever. But nevertheless, I don't have this thing. Shiny Dunsparce been in the game, I think, longer than a year. I could be wrong in that. I don't know. But it feels like it's been in the game longer than a year. Now, unlike Staryu, because I completely forgot about it, Dunsparce, I have not. So anytime I see this Dunsparce, oh, I gotta check it. I gotta check it. Let me make that U-turn to check it. I got to check the Dunsparce. And I've seen them around a lot, you know, at the house. I think I see Dunsparce at the house once a day, maybe twice a day. Never the shiny. And it's getting to a point where it's kind of annoying. I'll be honest, it's kind of annoying. So that's why it is number 3 on the list, because it's been around for a really good minute. I do not have this shiny at all, but it's not in the top 2 because these 2 Pokemon are extremely difficult to find. Let's see what they are. Number 2 is Skorupi. Skorupi is that difficult shiny for me to find, and it's bad enough that finding a shiny is hard to find, but finding a Skorupi is even worse. So it's in the same level of Staryu in terms of how rare the Skorupi Pokemon is to find in the wild. But, and granted, you can hatch those from 10k eggs as well, memory serves it correctly, the 10k or not 12k. I think it is 10k, or once upon a time it was in 10ks, but nevertheless they do be spawning in the wild. But I don't have this shiny, and once upon a time it did have a shiny shadow form as well, but obviously that's not the case anymore. Nevertheless, this thing is extremely hard to find. It's been in the game for, I think, quite as long as Dunsparce, maybe longer, maybe not, I don't know. But that, in combination with the fact that Skorupi itself is hard to find, unlike Dunsparce, that's why it's take the number 2 spot, but I can't give it the number 1 spot because this Pokemon has been taunting me for the longest. And before we get to it, let me give you guys my honorable mentions. So my first honorable mention would be, and this, I guess you could say number 12, is Phanpy. Now, obviously, Phanpy's shiny form came out in the game recently because of the Go Tour Johto event, but ever since then, I only seen, what, 1, 2 Phanpys in a row? Maybe that's it. Granted, they were in raids, but in terms of them spawning around, I think I see 1 or 2 ever since. So, which is really why it's not in my top 10, because that shiny form recently just came out. And that's a Pokemon that is not out and about like that, although it had been a raid. So I have been doing some raids for it, but obviously not in the raids anymore. So for me to find a shiny Phanpy going to be extremely difficult. Now, the second honorable mention will be Mantine, number 11 on the list basically. Again, this is another Pokemon that made its shiny debut at the Johto event. Had a brain fart for a second. And unlike Phanpy, Mantine, it was not in the raids. And again, I only seen about like 1, 2, maybe 3 Mantines. Actually, I feel like it's slightly more than that. But I've seen a few out in the wild ever since then. But nevertheless, none of them have been shiny for me personally. So that's why it's ahead of Phanpy, but it does not crack my top 10. Because again, even though I have seen a little bit of it in the wild, but it's extremely, you know, it just got into the game. It's really just got into the game. And it's not talking to me like a Wimmer raid or anything like that. Now let's get on to number 1. Number 1 on the list is Paris, or Paras, however you want to pronounce it. Now hopefully, with Spotlight Hour coming up next week, this coming Tuesday basically, hopefully I can get 2 so I can get the family right off the bat. Good, I can only have 0. Now, Shiny Paras, if memory serves it correctly, made his debut at last year's Go Tour event. It could have been sooner than that, I don't remember. But ever since then, I've been looking for this thing. And the reason, another reason why it's number 1 is because you can't even tell if it's shiny or not. You have to wait for the sparkles. You have to wait to see if the sparkles pop up or not. That is not the case with any other Pokemon on this list. So, it's the fact that it is hard to, it's been a game for a good minute. You can't tell if it's a shiny or not. And I feel like it's been taught to me because that's a Gen 1 Pokemon, just like Staryu. The difference is with Staryu, I don't see that out in the wild like that. So it's like, man. But with Paris or Paras, I do see those. Once upon a time, I was seeing those a lot. Nowadays, they kind of calmed that down a bit. But nevertheless, that Pokemon, I do not have that shiny. And it is kind of annoying rather. So that's, to me, is my number 1 most annoying shiny that I find to be difficult to catch. Now, again, out of everybody, out of all the Pokemon in the top 10 that is, there's like 1, technically 2, no, my bad, 2, technically 3 that I do have. So the technically part is the Litleo, but it's the female, not the male. But everything else, I do not have. Like the other 7, I do not have. And of course, the 2 honorable mentions I don't have as well. So let me know in the comment section below, which shiny Pokemon that you do not have in Pokemon Go at this point in time. Now, I got all the legendaries that have shiny forms in the game. I got all the legendaries and the mythicals, so that's cool. But there's still a few shinies that I don't have that are already in Pokemon Go. So, and these are some of them. Now, there's more, but these are the most difficult ones in my opinion, for me personally. And I'm gonna call it a wrap. So with all that said, y'all know what this is. This is boy New J Gatsby, aka New Stupid A Smith, saying peace out, y'all, and I'll see y'all next time. Yeah. Second. Subscribe. Thanks, man. Do it. After you subscribe to the channel, make sure you click the bell icon so you never miss a new video or live stream ever again. Thanks, guys.
Lewis the trainer, articulating paint. With my tongue, I done things that people said I can't. Now they ranking with the elite, but it's for the people, and victory is part of defeat. Cause when you get back on your feet, then you try again. Learn from mistakes, show them that I got what it takes, and I'm dying to win. I'ma hit and move away.